Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 10 of 12 weeks of Christmas. Today we're going to do some treat packaging. Last week we did gift cards, and I've got an update on the gift cards for you I want to show you. And I've got a bunch of things Stampin' Up! Related, so let's go down to my desk and get started. All right, down we go. You can see on my desk I have the new paper pumpkin kit, Notes from the Heart. You have to subscribe by December the 10th. It looks like a really nice one, different variety of greetings in it for all occasions, it looks like. And they still have the coordinating add-on dies, Merry Tags and more dies. So this is the one that coordinates with the kit for December, but you would get all these in that same package. Okay, that's the paper pumpkin. The other thing, Stampin' Up! Released 2 new kits yesterday, Cherry Blossom Treat Boxes and a Perpetual Beauty Calendar Kit. So check those out online. It looks really neat. Also, they released 3 new DSPs. And if you've been with Stampin' Up! Or you're familiar with Stampin' Up!, you'll recognize some of them. They've recolored some paper that we had before. So it's paper we've had before, but in different colors. So there's 2 12 by 12 packs, and there's 1 6 by 6 pack. So you'll need to check those out online. Also, the last chance products have been listed. So things that are going to be gone when stock runs out. Some things are discounted, others are not. So you'll have to check that out online also. Last chance products. Okay, I'm going to update you on what we did last week. We did, if you watched my video last week, we did gift card holders, and we did the snowman, and this is the way I had him done with the pocket in the front. The pocket is sort of his face, but I got thinking, I don't know that I really like that. And the to and from was just stamped on the back. So I thought I rework him, and I made him with the pocket on the back. So this guy's a little bit different, but you can see it's the same thing. The only thing I did is I took the pocket from the front and I didn't emboss it. I put it on the back so that my gift card holder could slide in the back. And when I embossed the larger piece, I just embossed just enough to do his face. So that's just an update on that if you wanted it to look a little different. If you were thinking, Marg, why do you have that going down his head? Well, I've changed it up a little bit. Okay. Now, the treat packaging today we're going to do looks like this. It can hold, I think you can see it from the side also. It can hold, this one has some chocolates in it. I also made a taller one. There's the taller one because I wanted to put some Tombow adhesive glue in it, so it needed to be taller. So I'll give you directions for both of those. But the thing that I like about this one is you don't have to create a box to hold your things in. It's just a piece of designer series paper put around, and it forms the sides so that nothing can fall out. Now, if you had small things like a bracelet or something that you were worried would slide out, you could put that designer series paper all the way to the bottom and it would hold everything in. But that's what it looks like. This one was done out of some retired things and some new things, but I'm going to use all current product today. All right, so we are using, as you can see, what I've decorated it with the birds. We are using the Nests of Winter paper, and I used this sheet, and I just cut out some of the birds. You could also use a circle die if you didn't want a fussy cut, but I fussy cut the bird on this one and some greenery. There is a die cut circle from the Stylish Shapes. I used the 3rd largest for my circle on the front. You could use any shape you wanted, and it can be stamped with a greeting, or this one, I didn't stamp anything on the front of it. I made a separate tag for it. All right, so I'll leave those both there so you can see them. Okay, the other paper we're using today is the Take a Bow, which was the 6 by 6 paper with all the different designs. So I've taken my colors from that. So the coordinating colors are Garden Green, Granny Apple Green, and Real Red. However, today I'm using Poppy Parade just because that's what I had a strip of. So you're going to start with a strip. If you're doing, I'll move this one out of the way. If you're doing this size box, you're going to use an 8.5 by 2 inch strip of cardstock. And you're going, you can see what I did on my ends here. I just cut them off with scissors. You can use a tag, a punch, a tag topper punch. I do not have any of the current ones. The current tag topper punches are in our annual catalog. There's one on page 28 called the Elegant Edge Tag Topper. You can see, what it looks like there. It's kind of fancy on the top. And there is also the Snowflake one on page 79. Oops, sorry, I'm moving my camera here. On page 79, you can see it here. So it looks like this. And when it's punched out, you get like a snowflake on the top. Okay, so I don't have either of those. I do have a retired one, which is called Delightful Tag Topper Punch. And it looks something, sorry, I'm trying to not get the glare on it, something like that. So I'm going to use that on one of them today, just to show you what it looks like on the top. You can also use a die. I have the Something Fancy dies, and I picked this one because it is exactly 2 inches wide. It fits perfectly on our paper that we've cut out, and I'll show you how I do the top and the bottom with a die. Okay, we're going to start with the red one, and I'm going to use the tag topper punch. So we will do our scoring first. So I'm bringing in the paper trimmer with my scoring blade on it. So 2 inches by 8.5. I'm going to score it at 3 3/4 and 4 3/4. So the box itself, the width of it is 1 inch. So if you needed it wider, it would make your box shorter. So I'm doing mine all the same. So just scoring it in 2 places. And I do like to use my bone folder, move this out of the way, to get the creases really nice and crisp so it stands up really good. So you're going to want to make sure that it's lined up properly and score it both places. Okay, and then I'm going to punch my ends with the tag topper punch, and any of them would be the same. So you're going to thread this through. This particular one has slots for 1 inch, 1.5 inch, or 2 inch wide paper. Now I'm using a 2 inch wide, so it slides right in here perfectly between those edges. And I like to turn it over so I can see it. And you don't have to put it all the way down. I kind of pull it up a little bit so I'm not wasting the paper, just making sure that it's still straight. And then you just punch. And you get, it also punches the hole, which is kind of nice. So that's what that one looks like. And you do it on both sides. So we'll do it one more time. Slot it through, turn it over so you can see it. I pull it up a little bit and go ahead and punch it. Okay, there we go. Now, if you noticed on this one, I did use an embossing folder. It is a retired one. Stripes and splotches, or stripes and spots or something it was called. So I did use that. Now, if you're going, you don't have to, but if you're going to emboss it, what I did was I just embossed up to the fold line, just the fronts and the backs, not the bottom, because I didn't want it to not sit nicely if it was embossed. So I'll show you how I embossed it. Bring my machine over. And I know I don't normally do this because it does wobble the table, but we'll try to make it work today so it's not too wobbly. Okay, so all you need on the bottom of this one is a 1, your big plate, a 3, because these folders that I'm using today, I picked an online exclusive Fun Patterns. So there's the diamonds and there's sort of like flowers. So I think I'm going to use on this one, I think I will use the diamonds. So it's not a 3D embossing folder, so it's the skinnier one. So you need the plate on the bottom and the plate on top. Now, I said I wanted to just emboss the front and the back. So I'm going to just put it into my folder, and I'm trying to make it sort of straight on here. Just seeing if I've got it kind of straight. Trying to line it up with my eyes here. Okay, like that. And then you're going to put it in, and you can see I've just gone to the first score line. So I'm just scoring the front of it. Did I just wiggle that? Sorry. Let's move that. Sorry, I have to readjust here. I moved that paper. I didn't mean to. Okay. Try to make sure it's straight because it might make a difference to the way it looks. Not that you're going to see a lot of it. I shouldn't really stress over it, I guess. Okay, put that through. I'm sorry if I'm wiggling the camera. I'll go slower. Okay. Now, of course, we've only done the front. And I debossed it, so I'm going to turn it the other way. I wasn't paying attention the way I put it into the folder. Are you all screaming at me, Mara, you're putting it into the folder wrong? Okay, let's try that again. This is the emboss side with the Stampin' Up! Logo on it. So we will do the back side. And again, you don't have to do this. You could just do the front if you wanted, or you don't have to emboss it at all. It's entirely up to you. I just thought it gave it another interesting element. So I'm going to put it through like that. My plate on top. And run it through. Ugh, it's not going, sorry. Don't have my plate on here right. And I think I wiggled it a bit, didn't I? Boy, this has given me grief today. Okay, try that again. Let's see if we can get it to go through. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay, I will get rid of my machine off of here so we've got something to look at. All right. Okay, so now, here we go. So it's embossed on the front and the back, like that, and not the bottom, so it'll sit nice and flat. Okay, so that's that. Our paper that we put around it, the Designer Series paper, is going to be 2 inches by 6 inches, so that's why I can use this 6 by 6 paper. I chose this stripe, and so I'm already scored it. Sorry, this piece is scored at 1 inch, 2 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. You're going to just attach it wherever you like. Now, if you want to put it right at the bottom so that nothing falls out the bottom, that's fine. I had mine up about 1/2 inch. Now, if you're going to put it up a certain amount, I put little marks on it just so that it would be straight when I put the paper on. So I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on each side here so that I make sure it's straight when I go ahead to do this, because it's a little bit, you know, you're holding your mouth a certain way to get it to go on. All right, I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue, and I'm just going to glue the front part first, or back part, whatever you want to call this, the main part. Okay, now I'm gluing it onto here, and I'm matching it up with those lines that I just drew so that I know that it's straight, and the fold line so that I know I've got it scored correctly. And I'll just hang on to it for a second. Okay, so there we go. Then you're just going to flip up the back and do the same thing. Now, with these ones, do one at a time. And I've got my markings on here. So it goes right where my little mark is for the 1/2 inch. And you're making sure that the score, whoops, is right on the edge here. So it's just like that. And then this one is easier because it's just going to meet your other piece, okay? So it's just all in the way you hold this. Now, I found this is a little bit tricky because it's still kind of wiggly in a way. But you can get it started and hold it for a second. Another thing you can do is I chose one of our blocks, an H block, and I dropped it in here. It's not quite as deep, but at least it gives you something to kind of press on. Okay, or you can turn it over and put it down like that and press on it. Okay, so now there you can see there is a seam on the back or the front, whatever. I'm using this as the front. We're going to cover it with our circle. Now I've cut the circle out of the Stylish Shapes and it's going right on top. So therefore you don't see that seam that we just made, and the back is finished also. Okay, so I like the look of that. Now I think I'm going to just glue this right down. So you can see that I stamped this already with the greetings of the season, Merry Christmas. I mounted the 2 words on a block like that. And I tested it out to make sure that it was straight. And then I just left it on my block and I stamped all the ones. Okay, so you can see I stamped that one already, stamped this one. Now I cut out a different bird for this particular one. And I also cut out some of the pine cones. So I thought I could put some of the pine cones on here. So I've got 3 little pine cones here. So I think I will put the bird up on a dimensional. And again, you can fuss over this as much as you want. It is just a gift packaging. I often sit these behind everyone's plate at my dinner table, and everybody gets a little treat after. Or if it's a gift, like you're gifting maybe one of your crafting friends some Tombow glue, that could be a gift all in itself, just like that. All right, I'm going to glue these down, these pine cones just on here, just as a bit more of a decoration. You could use some Wink of Stella on them. That would look nice. And I'm just putting them right on with Tombow glue. And I think I'll put this back in here. It makes it easier to work on. Put it up like that. I got to see how my bird's going to look on here. He's going to just be sitting here like, maybe this one needs to be turned a bit. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put him on, and then I'll know that he's in the right spot. All right. And I'm going to sit him just like that. And then I will tuck this other one on the other side underneath him there. Okay. So these are fussy cut. Like I said, I just fussy cut out of the paper. It's not hard, that's for sure. This is fairly simple designs, and they are very cute. Okay, so there's our box made, and you can put whatever you like inside. And to tie the top, of course, ribbon, twine, whatever you like. I used ribbon on this one. I used twine on this one. And we do have the Natural Tones linen thread that went with the Nest of Winter paper. And there was garden green, so I thought that worked out good for this. So I just will, I can't do that, sorry. I'll just thread this through. And if you wanted to attach a tag that said to or from on it, if it was a gift, you could do that. You could have stamped on the back of this prior to embossing, or you don't have to emboss. So that's entirely up to you. So I am going to just tie a bow with this and see how this looks. Okay, just bring the twine to the front, hopefully, and then tie a bow. And if it doesn't stay the way you want it, well, you can adjust it. I like it tied just in a bow so that your recipient can just untie the bow without ripping the packaging. And if it's a child, you'll have to give them a little directions how to open. Okay. I'm just trying to get this bow a bit more even. I maybe didn't give myself enough twine, but I think it looks all right. It doesn't have to be very big. And like I said, you can use ribbon if you like it to look a little more fancy. So there we go. There's our little box done. It can hold chocolates. It can hold Like I said, the Tombow glue. You've got lots of choices for that. So there's another box. Done. Now, I did say that this one was taller. So what I did with this one is I cut the strip 2 by 8.5. This one is 2 by 11. So you're still using your 8.5 by 11 paper, just cutting it the opposite way. And this works out really good to make it taller. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this with the something fancy die that I used instead of using a tag topper punch. So I need to bring my machine back in to show you. I'm sure you know how to do this, but if you don't, I will give it a go. All right. So now you need your plate 1. You need number 2 for cutting with dies, and one of your clear plates. And I put this in, and because this is exactly 2 inches wide, it fits on this paper. You can feel it. You see, it like almost slots beside the paper. And I just put it just to the top, and I'll use a piece of washi tape so it doesn't move. Put your other plate on top, and you don't want to cut the whole thing because you'll have a tag then. So what we want to do is stagger our plates like this. So it looks, you're not going to cut this bottom right here. Okay, so you've got to thread it through your machine and it'll go, no problem. And it just won't cut the bottom. So let's see what that looks like. Take this off. If I did it right, it just cut the top. And it leaves a bit of a crease, but that's okay. That's going to be covered up when we do our embossing, or if I don't emboss this one, I don't have to emboss it. It would be hidden by the designer series paper. Okay, but you have to do the same thing on the other end. So you're going to put your die on the paper and make sure, I find these dies kind of, you can see it kind of warps. So I just give it a bit of a bend, gentle bend to get it flat again. And then I'm slotting it back onto the paper that I know it's right in the right spot. I'll put this washi tape on it again to hold it in place. And when you go to put your plate, your top plate on, remember you're threading it on here, not across the bottom. Let's make sure you can see that. Not across the bottom. You're stopping before you get there. And then you're just going through like this. Okay. And let's see that we got it right. Washi tape off. Keep it. Use it again and again and again. And there we go. There, you've got both ends done. And of course we will need a hole in it, but we can do that with a hole punch. I'll get rid of this off my table for the last time, hopefully. All right, now we haven't done any scoring yet. So again, this one was scored at 3 3/4 and 4 3/4. So you're going to line up the bump there with your 3 3/4 and make sure you're using your scoring blade, and 4 3/4. So again, you just have that inch, right? And your box goes like that. Now this is a point where you could match them up like I did there. I've just got a regular hole punch, and I'm just going to punch the hole here for my ribbon or whatever twine I'm putting through. Okay, so you can do all of that. And we can emboss it. I'll do that again if we want to. Okay. Just make sure those score lines are good. And this time I have this paper. The background was this one, which is what I used on this box, this paper. I'm just flipping it over to use it on the other side. And I've already scored it at 1, 2, 4, and 5. And I'm going to put it onto here. Now, maybe this time I won't use the embossing folder. I will just do it plain. Makes it quicker anyways. Again, I like mine up about 1/2 inch, so I'm going to mark it again so that I know where it goes here. So just a little mark, and you can, if these marks show, they shouldn't because your paper should go right to them, but if they show, you can always erase them. Okay. And again, I'm going to just put my liquid glue on the bigger center part that is right in the middle there. And the nice thing about this paper is there's no right or wrong, there's no direction on these, so it's kind of nice. This is a good paper to choose. Okay, and making sure that it will go around my box like that. Perfect. Give it a minute to set so I'm not, you know how this wiggles. I don't want to wiggle it around too much. Okay. And for this one, I've stamped on the Granny Apple Green, and there's a different bird again, and extra greenery to put on. Okay, then I'm going to do my 2 ends. Flip it up like this, and flip this over, matching my little mark that I made and the edge, and just holding it for a minute. And I can still use my garden green twine on here if I choose. Okay, and then this one, it just meets up with the other one. So I like to get my hand kind of inside the box so that I can line it up a little bit better, making sure that it's there. Where's that block? That block works wonders I just sit it down there like that. All right, and then I'm going to put this on, and there's another one made. So these are quick and easy once you've got your pieces cut, and I did my stamping ahead. And I think these will be really cute for anybody that receives them. Now, I see this green one. I put the greenery over there on top of the bird. I think the bird's going here. I might put the greenery on top of him over here. Maybe it should be underneath. Nope, better be on top. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on him so that he'll stand out a little bit. See, that didn't stick down too good. Okay, and I will go ahead and put him on so that we can get the greenery on there too. So like I say, these are quick and easy. That doesn't look very straight, does it? Let's see if I can get that off of there. I don't think I can. I didn't make that all that straight, my Merry Christmas. I got my circle a little wonky, but that's okay. There we go. And a little bit of glue on here. And I think maybe I will tuck it underneath him. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. Oh, I will, just like that. There. Okay. And again, I'm going to tie it off with the green ribbon. Or the twine, sorry. Baker's twine. This is the twine, the trio of colors that goes with the paper that I'm using, the Nests of Winter paper. Okay. Whoops. There we go. All right. So that was even quicker because we didn't emboss this time. And like I say, it's a step you don't have to take because, you know, there's a lot of, sorry, I didn't do that very well. It depends on how much time you want to spend decorating these. And I know sometimes some people say, well, you know, all that time, and they opened it up, ate the chocolates, and threw the box in the garbage. So it's entirely up to you how much time you spend on these things. We were talking about envelopes the other day and how we fuss over our envelopes for our cards and how people just sort of rip the envelope open and throw it in the garbage. So, like I say, it depends on how much time you'd like to spend decorating. All right, so that's it for today. Those are our treat boxes. Maybe put the red one in the middle here. There we go. And all different ways to do the tops. If you don't have a punch. So this one was done with the same method that I did that one that I showed you with this die. And then this one, I just cut the corners off with scissors. So if you don't have a punch or a die you want to use, you could just do that. And then this one was done with my retired tag topper punch. All right, that's it for today. Week 10 done. Next week, well, I've got a couple more things to think about making. Bags, small bags to gift your presents in. And I also have some other little treat packages that we might be doing. So join me next week if you can. If you enjoyed this video, thanks for hanging in there. It's longer than it usually is. I sure appreciate your thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss me on Wednesdays. All right. Hope everybody has a great week.